everyone, and welcome to episode number 16. That's 1 and 6. 1 plus 6 equals 16 of Showing Up Perspectives on Cancer with Tim Sohn and my bestie, Carol Oelker. How are you doing, Carol Oelker, today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm excited for our conversation tonight. Are you?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes, this will be really good. It'll be a first for us too, this kind of conversation. So we're super honored to have our guest tonight.
Very honored. Very honored. And we created this show as a safe space where cancer survivors and cancer supporters come together to share their stories and connect, as well as find resources that provide healing, hope, and resilience. I am Tim Sohn, a 15-year cancer survivor, Kara's bestie, main host of Showing Up Perspectives on Cancer, co-host of the Tim and Jim Show, and a live streaming producer for Impact Focused Entrepreneurs. Over to you, bestie.
Yes, and thank you so much for joining us. Please let us know where you're. We're both tripping up on
It's gonna
words.
be a fun night.
I know. Please let us know where you're tuning in from and what your connection is to cancer. We appreciate you being here as always. It's already a little water cooler of sorts, just a little vibe of people connecting. And we want this to be a conversation. And we also encourage you to connect with each other in the chat. So again, my name is Carol Oelker. I am the co-host of Showing Up. I'm also co-host of Gamers Dan, and I am the founder of Deepened Roots Health Coaching. I'm a personal power coach, and I am the only host of Deepened Roots podcast that you can check out Tuesdays, 2 p.m. So lots of fire tonight. And take it away, Tim.
Yeah. So, Bestie, could you bring on those amazing graphics that you created?
Oh.
Yes. Before we bring our guests on, the new graphics. Before we bring our amazing guest Josh Tehan on tonight, I just wanted to talk a little bit about an amazing event that's coming up on March 8th and 9th. It's a 24-hour event. Yes, this right here. Open your hearts and wallets for blood cancers, a 24-hour live streamed fundraiser. I'm a candidate for Man and Woman of the Year. It's called a philanthropic competition. And there are, I believe it's 14 live streamers involved in this event. There's going to be cancer survivors sharing their stories. There's going to be musicians performing. All of these live streamers right here: Carol Oelker, Stephen Kaplan, Dorothy Odell, Carl Sullivan, Jenny Gold, Robert Murray, Mark Lee, Jim Fuse, DJ Durante, Ryan Schulman, Nancy Barrow, Rush Johns are all volunteering, taking time out of their busy schedules, pouring their hearts into this event, as well as my amazing team that are all volunteering to put together this event. And this is just part of a 10-week campaign. And our goal is to raise $50,000 for the Leukemia Lymphoma Society. We're also going to have Laura Rappa. If you could go back, thank you, bestie. Jim Calhoun, Ashok, Rachel Druckenmiller, Steve Stockmall, all these people. Laura is the mom of the Girl of the Year for the Lehigh Valley Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. And I just heard today from the mom of the Boy of the Year. So we're working on coordinating something with her as well. So we just have to figure out timing. So stay tuned. So many good things.
Yes, it'll be fun because not long ago, Tom, you wanted this to start rolling. You wanted to make an impact regarding leukemia, especially, and you wanted to give back to LLS because they gave so much to you, especially in the early days of you being diagnosed with leukemia and going through your own journey, right? And so this is such an amazing thing. I'm going to bring it back to the original flyer. Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. We're going to be up all hours of the night. It'll be hilarious and fun, and all sorts of shenanigans. We are not responsible for what flies out of our mouths, but we're super excited about that. And it just, we have a good goal ahead of us, because LLS, they're all about research, and they're also about helping out those, providing actual resources to those who, really need it going through leukemia. I mean, having cancer, not to put it, callously or anything, but very bluntly, cancer is expensive. And we all know this. And so, this is just an amazing opportunity to give back. So, join us, and we'll have more details, all the links to all the shenanigans going on with this fundraiser will be on Tim's donation page. So you all can just go there, and then we can just click buttons and all be good, right? So it'll be fun.
Yeah, stay tuned. We haven't provided the links yet because the donation button does not work until March 7th. So we didn't want to put the link out there and confuse everyone. So stay tuned. It will be coming when it gets closer. So thank you so much for listening to our Tim and Kara talk all about that. But now we're excited tonight to have a conversation with Josh Tehan. His son is a survivor of acute leukemia. His son was diagnosed at age 3 and is now age 16. And Josh and his son are both involved in the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. So I'm super excited to have a conversation with him tonight. So why don't we bring Josh on the screen? Let's welcome him to the show.
Hey guys. Hey.
Hi, Josh. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I've been looking forward to this conversation.
Same. It's been a long time in the making, so it's nice to see you guys and actually have an opportunity to talk to you about it.
Yeah, we connected quite a while ago. I don't even know how many months it's been.
It's been a while.
It has been a while. So Kara, let's go over to the comments and see who's tuning in to show up to support Josh and each other tonight.
Well, we have Maria. She's hopping in to say hi. Thank you so much for your time. She's a busy lady, and she still gives us time. And so we appreciate and love you, Maria. And thanks, Russ Hedge says, hey.
Hey, Russ. Russ is a super busy man. I think he has 4 live stream shows now, and he still manages to watch other people's shows. So thanks for being here, Russ.
I mean, if being a show off is what makes you happy, Russ. So Raquel, you both know Raquel. We know Raquel, but Raquel's a mutual friend, right?
She is. I'm assuming you're speaking with me, but yeah, she is. I've known her for close to 10 years. So
nice. Nice.
So she's seen a good chunk of everything that went on in Ethan's life. So
wow.
She knows a little bit, to say the least.
Raquel also loves coffee. She loves coffee. We both say coffee.
Yeah. Yes. Bill Bradford says good evening.
Bill, are you in Pittsburgh tonight? Where are you tonight? He's always somewhere in the world, Josh. Somewhere different.
Where in the world is Bill Bradford instead of Carmen Sandiego? Yeah, Maria, 24 hours. Like we're not, maybe we'll stay up for 24 hours because we're, adventurous like that, but we're all going to take shifts.
Most of it.
Yeah. We're going to take shifts and be live streaming. So it'll be super fun. And family.
It's my sister. Hi, Eileen.
Love. Hey, girl.
Love.
Oh, and one of the rock stars, we have rock star royalty. He's going to be on our live stream on the 24-hour streaming. So that'll
He's
be
going to be
pretty amazing.
performing. Yeah.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
looking forward to that.
Mark Hagayama, he was our episode number 9 and shared his amazing story with all of us.
Welcome, Mark.
Hey, yo. Oh, I don't know who that is, but
Who's Miss
if
Goofy?
you're talking to me, then I guess I'll put on that shoe. Okay, hold on. Practicing guitar as I watch. Look at that.
Wow. Are you going to send us a video later, Ashok?
Oh, yeah. Oh, real quick. He says, yes, home. Head out Monday.
Oh, okay. Thanks for the update.
Yes.
We appreciate it.
So, yeah. I mean, before we get into it, share your connection to cancer if you'd like. Whatever you'd like to share in the comments, and then we'll start this amazing conversation and just vibe with Josh, and you guys will just keep being amazing how you all are. Oh, and real quick, James Patrone, he was our number 15 last week.
Yes, welcome, James Patrone.
Hey, you. Nice to see
Welcome
you.
back.
How are you, friends?
How do you like his last name? Patron.
I know, right? Live at the party there.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you everyone for showing up tonight. We really appreciate all of you for being here. As we go through the conversation, let us know what questions you have for Josh or Kara or myself in the chat. We encourage you all to support Josh and each other during the conversation as we go along, as usual. So let's get the conversation started. So Josh, your son Ethan was diagnosed with acute leukemia at age 3, and he's now 16. Could you share a bit about his journey with us, and how did you explain to Ethan that he was sick at, I can't even imagine, at such a young age? How do you do that?
Yeah, that part was tough. It really started. He started having these sharp pains in his lower back and shooting into his legs about the summer of the year that he had turned 3, and didn't really think anything of it. It was kind of normal pain. See, didn't think anything of it because I'm 6'6", so I remember having growing pains when I was growing up. So you kind of attribute it to that, and made enough trips to the physician. They kind of said the same thing, give him Tylenol, kind of let it go. So one of his big things at that age was, he loved to wrestle with Dad. Him and I would do wrestling events all the time. And there was one particular evening where we were in the middle of wrestling, and he dropped to his knees and stopped. And he said, and all he could tell me was, he just said, Daddy, my butt hurts. Daddy, my butt hurts. And he would go and literally in a fetal position and lay in a corner. And then he had a high temperature. And at that point, just said, something's wrong. Something needs a little bit more attention. So the next day, his mom and I had taken him to one of the nearby hospitals, and they ran some blood work on him. And doctor came back in the room and flat out, without explanation, just said, we've got an ambulance coming here right now to come get you guys and take you over to Inova Children's Hospital right away. So that was obviously a long ambulance ride to that hospital, and they had ran tests, and this was around like October, and they had ran tests, about 3 days worth of different tests. And we were sitting in the room, in his room, designated room at the time, and the doctor had come in along with, I can't remember, I think there was another nurse that came in, and they said, Mom, Dad, we'd like for you to step in this room with us. And his grandmother came along with, and kind of walked into this room. And it's crazy because I could still see the room. It had that dry personality to it. There was just white walls, a sofa, a chair, and a desk. I mean, it was about, I would say that that's how I felt when I got the news at that moment, when he said, your son has leukemia. I mean, those are the words that still echo in my head today, and that you can't unhear. My initial reaction to that again was, I was numb. Like, I just was numb. There was no emotion. It was just a flood of, oh my God, like, now what? Like, what does that mean? Like, what is it? There's a slew of questions that come into play. Obviously his mother and his grandmother were, taken back by that and very emotional from the get-go, and rightfully so. But man, you just have a flood of things that, come into your mind. And the crazy thing is that the doctor says, we have to start something immediately. Like, we have to start this now. And you're signing paperwork like right away. I mean, you just heard the news, you're signing paperwork. You don't even know what the hell you're reading. There's a lot of stuff right there. So we had to really look at them and go, we got to soak this in. Like, we've got to get our mind right here. Because you want to make phone calls. You want to, like, what do we do? How do we tell him? And he goes, well, you guys need to go tell him. He said, well, how do you tell a 3-year-old that they have cancer? How do you tell somebody, your own child? I don't care what age they're at, but the fact that they're 3 years old, they don't know what that is. So his mom and I agreed, that we went into the room. It was just the three of us. And we said, son, you're sick. The doctor says you're sick. You don't feel good. We're going to be here for a while. That's all you could tell him. And, he's just, okay, thinking nothing of it. Now, it was the month after that was very, very, very tough. And that was I call it the shock and awe month. It was literally just getting peppered with different kinds of chemotherapy medicine, because when you signed the paperwork, we signed off on a particular program that was successful for this type of leukemia. So we really hit the ground running. So that first month, man, that was an unforgettable month, truly, as a parent. And I think the fact that he was 3 years old was a good thing in a way, if you want to look at it, because he doesn't remember a lot of it, if at all much of anything. But as a parent, you're now faced with the control and the protection that you typically have for your child is now not yours to do anymore. It really isn't. And now you're forced to learn. You're forced to be more of a consoling person, maybe a different aspect of being protective. And it's just a wild ride. And I'll say this as a parent of anyone who has a child who has cancer, you really have to not look at it long term. You have to look at it just day by day and just treat it as today. We're going to get through the whole day. That's how we're going to do it. We can't worry about tomorrow. We forgot about yesterday. We just got to get through today. And that was the hard thing to adjust with. So it was that first month I just remember the most. It was very disheartening at many times, and starting to lose his hair. I shaved my head and shaved his head ahead of losing a lot of it, because I certainly didn't want his mom washing his hair and having clumps fall out. So it's that physical aspect of it. But it was tough. So that journey, it was a 2-year program. It ended up being 3 for a certain reason. I won't speak of it here, but it ended up being a little longer than it needed to be. So he ended up with extra chemo medicine. So it was a long 3 years. It was a long 3 years. I mean, you looked at a lot of things he missed. There's that, there's a lot of childhood missed in there, not going out, not seeing friends. You're really you barely have enough energy to walk around the facility, much less out of the room. And you got to get him out and moving. It's just, there's a lot to it. There's a lot to it. And us as parents are getting pulled in different directions because we still got to work, still got to focus, still got to, I mean, you're living on the edge for every day. So.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I can't imagine either. And I love how you did say, I mean, how do you tell a 3-year-old that he has cancer? Like what goes through his mind, right? And
nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
You're like so worried, like, because he's like, what is that, right?
But that's the beauty of it. He didn't ask. He's, it's weird because he's in this room, but the room has like a Nintendo Wii. It's got a PlayStation. He sees it like, oh, I'm cool. I've got like things that I need, and I got people feeding me. What do I care? But it was the, not knowing and entering the tough parts that, struck it. But he was so resilient. I'll say this, it depicts about his personality today. And his mom and I saw it firsthand that he was going to be something special. I remember a particular moment where we were, you're laying next to his bedside constantly. We're trying to do shifts. You're not sleeping as parents. It's just the way it is. You got nurses coming in on rotation every hour, 2 hours, checking vitals. They're waking him up. He's not sleeping. Like it's nonstop. Every day it's like that. But there was one particular night he had to go pee. So you have to help him up. He's just this little guy. You have to help him up and stand up in bed and hold a container for him to pee in. And he's got his mom on one side and me on the other. And he had his arms, and I'll never forget it. He had his one arm around me, one arm around his mom. And middle of the night, he had already gone through treatment that day, bald head, and he just smiled. That's all he did. Oh. He looked at us both and smiled just because we were both there. Yeah. That's when I knew he's going to do something good in life. And at the age of 16, I see that same little boy who smiled. Oh, wow. That's the way I see him. That kid in the back, that's him. That's him.
That's beautiful.
And going with that too, I mean, it was 3 long years of enduring that. And then, and he's 16 now. So what have been the physical and the mental impacts on Ethan as he's been growing up?
Mentally, not much. I mean, he's resilient. I think, like I said, I go back to the fact that he doesn't remember much of it. He remembers like certain things like his grandfather used to do to make him laugh. He remembers like the good little bits and pieces that were a part of that journey. And he doesn't remember the whole scope of it, like obviously his mom and I and his family members do. But mentally, he's sharp as a tack. He gets A's and B's in school. He loves to study, loves school. He has his own sports podcast. He's, his knowledge of sports is amazing. Nothing from that aspect. I mean, when he had the opportunity to go back to school and he didn't have hair, there's obviously the couple kids that make a comment at that age, and there's a lot of them that took him in like he was never left. But it didn't bother him. And mentally, he's really in a good shape. Now, physically, that's a different ball game. He's had so much chemotherapy medicine to impact his legs, the strength of his legs. He couldn't fully put down his feet like we all can. So he walked on his tiptoes for years, and his Achilles never stretched out. So we went through all kinds of physical therapy, just different ways of trying to avoid surgery. But it just got to a point where just have to do it for his safety. He loves sports. He's played in sports. Sports was challenging because he didn't have the balance and strength like we all have. And I coached him. So it was really tough to put him in positions and where he was safe and comfortable. So he was challenged in that way in many years. And he finally had the Achilles surgery last year. And now it's so interesting to hear from him, Dad, I can walk. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you take that stuff for granted, and it's been since he was 3 to walk heel to toe, and but you don't think of it. So from a physical standpoint, that's what he's been kind of challenged. So,
and real quick, what is the name of his podcast?
Right now it's called Game Stoppers. Him and I kind of go back and forth on that. I'm like, dude, you got to change that a little bit. I said, listen to his content, and I'm like, let's try to make a little adjustment. But he's been doing that now for, oh gosh, where are we at? He's been doing that for a good year now. So, but it's on Spotify.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's called Game Stoppers. Matter of fact, I asked him if he wanted to join this tonight, but he's actually at this hour in the middle of his own podcast. So,
that's
awesome.
Love it. I just have to. We're all about promoting, so there you go, guys. Check it out.
I know he'd love it. Go back to him and I'll tell him. So, yeah,
that's awesome.
Let's get him some new subscribers.
Yeah, he would love it.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing all of that, Josh.
Wow.
I just want to go back for 1 minute. When you were talking about a few minutes ago about the reaction to hearing the news of Josh being diagnosed with cancer. And, we were talking about this a little bit in the pre-interview, and, we talk a lot on the show about different perspectives, and, you as the dad of Ethan, who was diagnosed with cancer, and myself as a cancer survivor, and me and you had very similar reactions to the diagnosis, except you as the dad and myself as the survivor, in that kind of like numb state, like what next, just kind of like what's going to happen now, right? That was kind of your reaction also, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because
it's that unknown. It's that you don't, I mean, you're getting hit with something that they're very knowledgeable about, but you don't know anything about it. You don't know what the outcome is. You don't know the impact it's going to have for you. I mean, I could rattle off, as you know, Tim, I mean, we could sit here and rattle off 50 different questions, that probably initially pop into your head and continue to pop into your head as you move forward. But the numbness, I mean, it's literally you're just getting sideswiped. That's, I mean, I've heard it put that way, and it's legit that way. So
yeah, for
big
sure.
time. Big time. So hats off to you. I mean, it's definitely, it's the same news, but it's two different impacts, and I think maybe hearing that you're the one affected by it certainly brings on something entirely different, but something that you can't control. It's just something, the bottom line is it's something you can't control. It's out of your personal control. It's now in theirs. And thank God we've got, frontline workers and doctors who are committed to this stuff, because they're the ones. I have always viewed them as the true heroes in this world, because they put themselves out there. They work long hours. I mean, they want to see us as humans succeed. So it's a really cool thing. So
yeah, definitely shout out to all the frontline workers, all the public health workers, all those people out there. So Kara, why don't we go over to the comments and see what people are blowing up the comments as we're having our conversation over here.
Yes. So we have going back to the top. So Christina, she says, hi, guys. Hi.
How are you, Christina?
Bill Bill from Maryland. Thank you for joining us.
Bill. Yeah, we're going to be talking to you guys soon at the beginning of March. So thanks for being here.
Yes. Let's see, scrolling down. Oh, hey, Charlene. Charlene's here. Good evening from Brooklyn, New York.
Nice to see people from around the country and world, it looks like.
Yes.
Yes. And so here's a question. Are you familiar with the organization Special Love?
I am now. I have never heard that. I will certainly look that up.
Okay. Yeah, we will have to look that up. And I went all the way down on accident. Yeah.
Oh, that's okay.
Oh, I found it. Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Let's see.
Josh, let's bomb cancer.
Yes.
Amen.
Thanks, Josh.
Yeah, and I've been, and hats off to you too, Tim. We need a lot of people involved, like what you guys do in all different avenues, because it's such a different community. I mean, once you're in the cancer community, you're forever involved in it. You're not getting out of it, and that's okay. But how can we make this better? How can we be a big part of it to get the word out and get people to understand that from a children perspective, these kids deserve to live a life. These kids deserve to grow up. They don't deserve to go through the hell that it is, and it's truly hell. Whether they remember it or not. I mean, and I'm sure I know that this was a topic we were going to get into tonight, though, Tim. But when I took Ethan to a lot of outpatient visitations, I saw children from all ages, and one of the hardest ones I saw was seeing infants being brought through the halls in what looked like a cage, like a little mini cage, and they're being put into whatever room. And you hear screams all night because they're getting poked, they're getting prodded, they're going through a slew of stuff. So they're not, they're missing out on stuff. They're missing out on holidays. They're missing out on just any kid stuff. And then you look at the teenagers, I met some beautiful young teenagers who their image changed. They're going in there and but yet some of them that I met, I wouldn't say some, I'd say actually most, if not all of the ones I met just had this strong personality to them. And you really started seeing that all these kids are just beautiful people, and they've been shoved they've been shoved a bad hand in that life, and they deserve they deserve everything they can get their hands on, whether it be support, treatment, all the above. It's everything. So they deserve to go to prom, they deserve to go to Halloween, they deserve to go to enjoy Christmas. It's everything. And it's things like you guys are doing right now. And hats off to you too, Tim, for Man of the Year campaign. As you know, I ran last year. It's a big deal. It's a very big deal. And LLS, I mean, I love seeing all LLS communications out there of all the different treatments that are getting approved.
Yes.
Which is it's a big thing. So legitimately where the money's going. And it gives all these individuals options. It gives them successful options that, maybe 15 out of the 16 don't work, but that one will. So it's a good thing. And I think it should continue to grow, because I'm tired of cancer bringing the fight to us. We're going to bring the fight to it. So, and that's the way I've always said it. And that's the way it should be.
Yeah.
So my perspective, Josh, is that I was the 3-year-old whose mother had cancer. So it was different. And I grew up, like, my mom always had cancer throughout my life, and she ultimately passed away from cancer. So cancer has always been something I've been running away from, because it's been in my life all the time, right? And meeting Tam and meeting, other people, and just realizing I can't run away from something that's been such a huge part of my life. It does make you just want to give back, just feeling so terrified and scared my whole life. And then, like, this is something that we can do. We can't control the outcome in terms of dollars, but we can really, like you said, bring the fight. And no matter the income, or no matter the outcome, there will be an impact. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's super important to remember as well. Like, the whole, cancer is scary. just, loved ones, whether you're going through it or loved ones, especially, your own child, my goodness. It's so scary, but it is important to stand up and fight and make that impact, because it does save lives. So I just appreciate your perspective, big time.
Mm-hmm. No, and I appreciate that, and certainly appreciate your strength to be able to come out of that, because, and that's a big reason why I wanted to be, which I'm happy to be a part of this conversation today, is there are times when, at least for me, there was times when you just felt alone. And when you honestly look around, and I'd say over the years too, as I continually met people, whether directly or indirectly, nobody's alone with this. I mean, it's crazy in numbers how many times that I've heard, hey, my aunt had it. Hey, my cousin had it. I've had 2 in the family, or I know a good buddy of mine. There's a lot. I mean, we're all impacted by it. So none of us are really alone. It's just, we got to make sure to just stay supportive. And it's going to take, it just takes a village for this. And that's ultimately what it is. And then, as long as, we keep doing what we're doing and keep raising that bar, I think cancer it's going to eventually be a thing of the past, at least some of it.
Yeah. Thanks so much for sharing that, Josh. And Jason Freeman had a question. He said, Josh, what would you say to comfort parents whose child has just been diagnosed with cancer?
Yeah, I love this question. It's a common question that I get asked all the time for obvious reasons. I typically, what my answer is, and it's very cliche, but it's incredibly true. You're shoved into a situation where there is a lot of unknown, and that's when you truly live in that moment. You truly understand and start recognizing what is true, what is the most important aspects in life, and make sure that you've got a good support group around you. I mean, you can't do this alone. It's hard to do it alone. You just can't. And, there's a lot of things that it could take a back seat. There was a lot of times that, it was comforting to know that you got to come to the understanding that it's in the right hands. These doctors, these nurses, unfortunately, they see a good volume of this coming in and out, and they know what to look for. They know what they're doing. It's almost like, you jump in a plane and you go off across the country. Look, the pilot's been up there and he's done a lot of hours. So you trust that he's doing the job right. You trust that he's going through all the, going through all the safety checks and doing everything right to get you to where you need to be as safely as possible. That's no different than what they do. But, for the times that your child is not feeling well, look for ways to, try, to bring their spirits up, understand that, they need the rest. And for the opportunities where your child is feeling good, enjoy that moment, take advantage of it. It's really just, I go back to day, and then it turns into, a lot of times there's a minute by minute, and you just sit there and you just stare. There was countless times I stared at my son when he was sleeping at night and cried, because you just, it's a sad moment that he's got to be in that moment and not be out and about or doing whatever that night. But, we're spending time with him, and he's able to, we're going to do everything we can to get him to the right place, regardless how long it might take. Yeah. But support is the biggest thing. You got to make sure and know there's support groups out there that are available. So all you got to do is ask. I mean, there's a ton out there. There's even much more out there than it was when he was diagnosed at 3. So take full advantage of that and talk to other people, because they'll they'll be able to show you different perspectives. They'll be able to give you a little bit more insight. You might have, exhibit A guy tell you something great, and then exhibit B person will tell you something even better. And, it'd really just be a part of that, because you are now a part of that community. Just engulf yourself and embrace it, because you're going to need it.
Real quick, I just want to say there's a kudos. Okay. Your story doesn't break my heart as much as it mends my soul. So thank you for sharing all of that.
Yeah, no, I certainly appreciate that feedback. Yeah. Excellent. Thank you. Happy to hear that.
Yeah. So Josh, you mentioned during our pre-interview that you as a parent essentially had to become a doctor at certain parts of your, during the journey with, Ethan in certain scenarios. Could you just talk a little bit about that and what you mean by that?
Yeah, it's probably more of a nurse than it was a doctor, but
yeah,
it's his. So if folks are familiar, that the individual usually gets a port plugged in, which sits just right above the heart. So what that does is it allows any sort of medicine, any sort of fluids or antibiotic to get in their system a lot quicker. So one of the caveats to that is sometimes that tube that runs in there can get infected. So you don't want it to reach the heart, because then that causes all kinds of slew of issues. So one day figured out that he had an infection in there, but it was sitting in the tube, and it was literally at the very end, at the very tip. So, but they give you like these little small, it's weird. It's the small balls full of antibiotic. So you have to sit with the actual nurse and learn how to do that at home. And he gets it every 8 hours. So you had to learn how to clean the port, plug it in, let it drip, try to keep all that clean. So, we did that for a few months. So that's just one example of, the things that you had to do at home in order to make sure that he was safe. They ended up having to remove it and installing a new one. So he's got 2 nice little battle wounds there, but it's like little complications like that, right? That can add to the already chaos that it already is for them. But that's just, like I said, that's just one example.
That's very identifiable too, because with my mom, it was, oh, okay, you have steroid shots now.
Steroids is another one.
Yep, steroid shots. And also checking her blood sugar because she was type 2 diabetes. So then I had to give her insulin because she was insulin dependent at that point. And, cleaning things, ports, very identifiable. You're like, okay, yeah, I'll do whatever. And you do feel like, like a little helper. You really have to step up and know your stuff, because you're, taking care of things at home, while the nurses and doctors can't. So you really have to wise up big time.
Yeah, you certainly have to step up, and it's nerve-wracking, right? Because you don't want to mess up. You don't want to miss a spot or make it too uncomfortable for them, because there was a needle that obviously went into his port every time. Then you got to lock it in. If you don't lock it in right, then it stays loose, and he's not getting antibiotics. So there's a little nerves to it. Obviously, once you go through the motions a few times, then you get it. But it's just adds to the many things that are involved in the whole process. It just that's what people don't understand. It's not just, you get this chemotherapy, today, and that's it. No, there's a whole slew of other things behind that, and all the different nuances, I think, that go along with it.
Yes, definitely. And you also mentioned earlier the importance of support groups. Which ones have you and or Ethan participated in those, and what's that experience like?
Oh, you would ask me the specifics on that. It's, that part's been, it's been so long ago. And typically we had received those through, and I can't remember her exact title, but she gave us a laundry list of support groups and URLs to kind of go part of. I don't know any specific names, but it's not hard to, it's definitely not hard to find. There's support groups out there for strictly parents. There's support groups out there for the patients. There's support groups out there for siblings who have to deal with a sibling getting all the attention because they're the ones that are sick. So, they try to cater to them too, because it's impactful for them. There's also the financial aspect of it, right? That's one of the biggest things. It was one of the most painful things that I had to watch when he was in the hospital too, is some of the nurses became family to some of the patients because mom and dad had to work. I cannot imagine having to work so much and you cannot be there by your child's side because you're trying to pay medical expenses.
Yeah.
I'll tell you right now, because it upsets me to talk about it, but I'll be damned if that was to happen. I mean, I was fortunate enough to have a company. I worked for a company at the time that gave me all the space I needed, and I certainly had great insurance to help with that. But I just can't imagine not seeing your child and having, just because you're trying to pay for those medical expenses. And now they have, financial help with that and support groups for that. So.
Oh, wow. Yeah, Google, guys. Google. Google.
Yeah, I probably still have it. I used to keep it on I might still have a bunch on a USB drive or whatever. Mm-hmm. So I can, I can certainly dig some of that up and see if that stuff still exists and share that at some point.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you.
You bet.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. As we start to wrap up the conversation, guys, we have one more question for Josh. And, if you have any other questions, post them in the comments. We'll go there one more time before we gently whiff Josh back into the green room. But Josh, what one of the connections, during our conversation that I was excited about was, that we both are, involved in LLS, the Leukemia Lymphoma Society. So could you just share about, both you and your son are both involved in the organization now. Could you just, share a bit about your connection with LLS, how you've been involved with
it? Yeah. So it's interesting. So when I used to take him to, and I'll try to be as quick as possible, but it's been a journey.
Take your time.
So when I used to take him to outpatient appointments, they would have a prize closet with all kinds of little toys and stuff in there. So it'd be something that the kids could look forward to as they were leaving after their outpatient treatment. So there was a lot of cases that sucker was empty, and I didn't like that. I was like, there's no way. And I would ask nurses, why? And they said, well, we get them as donations and it's really hard to get them. I said, I know enough people that know my situation or know my son's situation, and we're going to fill this thing. So I started doing that on the regular. I started to make sure that prize closet was filled. And then I moved on to, all right, we're going to get into bigger toys. And I would drop them off with a contact that I had, and they gave them to the kids of Inova Children's Hospital who couldn't go home for Christmas, so that they would get some toys that would go there. Wow. So that got the word got out on that. So LLS contacted me, and then I started doing Light the Night, Student of the Year Light the Night campaigns, Student of the Year campaigns, Man of the Year campaign last year. So I've always been involved, whether I've been doing the campaign or supporting somebody doing it. And I've been doing that for the last several years now. And Ethan is joining me this go around. He was a big part of the Light the Night one a few years ago, but he's joining me on this go around to help support some fellow students of Loudoun County here in the state of Virginia, support some of the kids from his school that are doing Student of the Year. Now he's going to be in the position to hopefully have his own campaign next year. So,
wow.
But he's this year's honored hero for the Student of the Year campaign.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so
That's awesome. How does that make you feel, Josh?
Yeah.
Very proud of him because, that was one thing that we talked about. I said, I always feel like you gotta do right by those who do right by you. And I said, you may not see it, but what you do impacts a lot of kids in your similar situation who are sitting in that hospital bed right now fighting. And I said, you got to keep that in mind because you were there and now they're there. So I'm very proud of him.
Yeah.
Very proud of him.
I can only imagine.
I can't say that enough. I mean, you always say your kids are your life, but when you watch somebody go through something like that, that takes it to a whole nother level.
Yeah. You could tell when you talk about it. You light up.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. Without tearing up, which I'm sure I will at some point later.
I have some
He's
Puffs.
everything.
Shout out to Puffs, the not yet sponsor of the show.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's I mean, I don't know him and I just met you tonight and I'm just like, wow, you both are two amazing, strong, courageous human beings. He's endured so much and he didn't even know it when he was little. And he had strong parents to help him just know that he's loved and that he can get through it and that he's okay. And he is this, wonderful young man who is still a fighter and so sweet and courageous. And it's just, my goodness. Thank you so much for sharing all of this. And you've done a lot to be proud of for sure. And just being a little crusader for your little guy, He'll always be your little guy, even though he's not 3,
even
sitting up on the bed, peeing in a container anymore.
Yeah, his height's getting up there. He's about 6'5" now. So he likes to remind me, Dad, I'll be taller than you. And I said, I hope so, buddy. I hope you're taller, better, just better than me. Just do that.
Oh, wow.
I'm good
That's
with that.
so awesome. Yes. And that's amazing that he's been able to grow as well. And that his, growth isn't stunted and, he's had some effects for sure. But other than that, it's so amazing that he's been able to grow up the way he has developmentally, physically as well.
Yeah. And I got a lot to thank LLS. I got a lot to thank the doctors and nurses that have made this happen. I got a lot of thanks to you guys. Tim, you experienced it. You guys all experienced it to some degree. But what you're doing now, there's going to be kids and kids as parents who will thank you guys later in some manner. And, whether you hear it or not, there's a thank you in there somewhere. And I think we're giving back and giving somebody the opportunity to watch their kids grow. That's important.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So,
Thank
but
you,
I can't thank you guys enough for this opportunity. I know Rock's listening because I see her blowing up the comments over there. But
she is such a cheerleader.
She's always been a fan, and I'm a fan of her as well. And that's the kind of support I'm talking about. It's it's that we all need it, and we certainly all need it during our darkest of times too. So
yeah,
it's nice
definitely.
to have. Yep.
Yes.
Definitely.
So, yeah. But hey, Tim, congratulations on Man of the Year. Certainly I'm rooting for you. I hope you have a successful campaign. Like I said, it's an adventure. It could be a long, grueling one, but man, it's worth it, and it's a lot of fun to the very end. So, best of luck.
I appreciate it, Josh. All right.
Well, we are gonna whisk you away to the green room.
Gently.
All right, sounds good.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks.
Oh no.
Oh wait, hold on.
Oh, what's going on over there? Is that Henry?
Oh yeah, sorry guys.
Hi, Henry.
He just likes to do his thing.
Yeah.
He's been eating and chewing on bones and living his life. So,
No good. Well, Henry can't stop because we're doing a show. I mean, he's got to live his life still. I mean,
yeah,
life
thank
has to
you,
go on for
Josh,
Henry.
and Tom, and everyone. My goodness, this has been just an honor to just hear Josh's story, and yeah,
Yes, definitely, and just all the different perspectives tonight. And I think I'm gonna need puffs tonight. Just all three of our different perspectives. That's the thing that that we can bring those perspectives together on this show. That's just special, I think. So thank you, Josh.
yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So I wanted to share something with you guys. There's this woman named, she goes by the name Nightbird with an E on the end, and she's 31 years old, and she was on America's Got Talent during the pandemic. I don't remember when it was. I think it was like June. And she had cancer for like 4 years, and she died yesterday. And she wrote this song called "It's Okay," and so I just wanted to share it with you guys. And the song just really touched me because, well, first I'm going to share my screen and play it, and then we could talk about it on the other side. I might need
warning though, it may lag and delay on the streaming ends, but we're gonna try it for sure.
We're doing it.
So our apologies in advance if it gets all wonky.
Shout out to the Wonky Donkey, by the way.
Wonky donkey.
You knew I was going to say that. Oh, and shout out to this thing.
Solar panels.
Shout out to solar panels.
There she is.
It's funny because singers come on and I think about authenticity. When you feel it, when it moves you, that felt like the most authentic thing.
No, sorry. Let's try that again.
Hi. Hello. How are you?
I'm awesome. So happy to be here.
Oh, we're happy you are. What's your name?
My name's Jane. When I sing, I go by Nightbird.
Oh, that's nice.
Nightbird?
That's right.
Did you sing? Do you sing for a living?
Not recently.
Where are you from?
I'm from Zanesville, Ohio.
Okay. How old are you?
I'm 30.
30 years old. And the dream is to be a singer. What are you going to be singing for us tonight?
I'm singing an original song called "It's Okay."
It's okay.
Yeah.
It is. It's okay.
It's okay.
What is It's Okay about?
It's Okay is the story of the last year of my life.
All right. And who are you here with?
I'm here by myself.
It's okay.
Yeah.
And what do you do for a living?
I have not been working for quite a few years. I've been dealing with cancer.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm okay.
All right.
Can I ask you a question? How are you now?
Last time I checked, I had some cancer in my lungs, my spine, and my liver.
Wow.
So you're not okay?
Well, not in every way, no.
You got a beautiful smile and a beautiful glow, and nobody would know.
Thank you. It's important that everyone knows I'm so much more than the bad things that happen to me.
Yes.
All right. Sing for us.
Good luck. Nightbird.
I moved to California in the summertime. I changed my name thinking that it would change my mind. I thought that all my problems, they would stay behind. I was a stick of dynamite and it just was a matter of time, yeah. it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. If you're lost, we're all a little lost, and it's alright. It's alright, it's alright, it's alright. I wrote 100 pages, but I burned them all. Yeah, I burned them all. I blow through yellow lights and don't look back at all. I don't look back at all. Loading all mine, now I can't hide. Said I knew what I wanted, but I guess I lied. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. If you're lost, we're all a little lost, and it's alright. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. If you're lost, we're all a little lost, and it's alright. Oh, it's alright to be lost sometimes.
Mm. Whew. Yeah.
She, during that audition, she said she had a 2% chance of survival. And she was telling us all that we're all a little bit lost and it's going to be all right. And she is standing on the stage in front of thousands of people. We're in the midst of a pandemic where we were all freaking lost, right? And a lot of us are all still freaking lost. And she died yesterday, and I saw that notification and I was just like, what the beep? Like,
Yeah.
she provided so much hope, and like millions and millions of people were following her, and like she just provided so much hope. And I wanted to share that. And there's one other video I want to share of hers, but is there anything you want to say, Bestie?
No, I'm just bawling over here. Yeah, it's so sad.
Yeah.
What tremendous beauty and strength and courage, you know?
Yeah.
She knew, and that was okay with her.
Yeah.
You know, she had no choice.
Yeah. Okay, let me share one. I want to share one more video.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Go like this. And we'll go like this. And
you don't. Just because you're sad or grieving doesn't mean that you're not grateful, and it doesn't mean you're not hopeful. It doesn't mean that you still aren't fighting for your life, that you still don't have it in you.
that wasn't the whole thing. Maybe see if it'll do it again.
You don't.
Maybe it was the whole
Just
thing.
because you're sad or grieving doesn't mean that you're not grateful, and it doesn't mean you're not hopeful. It doesn't mean that you still aren't fighting for your life, that you still don't have it in you.
I guess that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean, the show is about all of it regarding cancer. And unfortunately, we lose beautiful souls in the middle of us celebrating life. We celebrate life and take time to honor and grieve the sadness that comes along with losing a beautiful life.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
thank you so much,
All of it.
guys, for staying on with us and being a part of this, and for Tam, you sharing your heart and your sadness, you know, because this has hit you hard too. Yeah.
Yeah, I just wasn't expecting it, because when she was on America's Got Talent, she just was so, like, she just provided so much hope. And then I could tell over time as she did Instagram videos that you could just tell she was losing weight, and you could tell her hope. You could just tell as she was saying things that she wasn't feeling as hopeful. You could tell through her messages, but she wasn't, she wasn't being super negative or anything, but you could just tell. So I kind of had a feeling that things weren't going great, but then all of a sudden it was like, so, but she made a huge impact through her song and she's written other songs as well. Yeah, she's made a huge impact through her songs and her messages. And so, yeah, rest in peace, Nightbird.
Rest in peace, Nightbird.
Yeah. So I'm not sure how to transition from that.
Oh, just, we love you all. And Josh, my goodness, thanks again for just being on. We see you in the green room, and we will join you soon. But, we appreciate this platform, and we appreciate everyone who shows up every week to be with us while we go
around the world
together.
Literally.
We go through all this together. So we are two blessed people to be going through this and to have this platform with all of you. This is our show. This is all of our show. So thank you.
What she said, all of it. Yeah.
On that note.
Yeah. On that note, I know you're like, tears are coming. I'm running off the show. But next week we have an amazing guest also.
Oh,
right?
let me put up that graphic.
Yes.
Yeah. Hold on. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So next week we have Diane Jackson.
Yeah.
Talking about generational strength and cancer battles. So we're looking forward to having her next week.
Yeah.
For sure. And if you would like to be a guest on the show, feel free to direct message myself or Kara. We would love to have you share your story here with us. And if you're not sure if you want to share your story, or if you just need some support, you need someone to listen, to talk to you, we're here for you in that capacity as well. So feel free to reach out.
Most definitely.
Yeah. So thank you everyone for tuning in. We really appreciate all of you for showing up to support Josh, to support each other. Thank you, bestie.
Thank you, bestie. And we will see you next week, everyone. We love you.
Love.